Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for your time today. It's my pleasure to introduce myself, Mark Cooper from IAC. Also, my colleague, Kate Bacon, who's from our European office here in the UK. And Kate oversees the IAC Green Star program and all of the surveying and working with our members in regards to completion and awarding the certificates. It's also my absolute pleasure to welcome Lotte Bowman. Lotte is CEO of the Tunahoiden Conference Centre outside of Stockholm in Sweden. And Lotte has been involved in the development of the Green Star programme along with a global group of volunteers, but also is going to share with us this afternoon some ideas of how they put and turn sustainability into action and create some great examples of sustainability. Today, the next 30 minutes, as Kate said, we're going to have a whistle-stop tour of the Green Star programme. We'll take a look at just some key points as to why sustainability appears to be more important in the eyes of meeting planners today than maybe possibly in the past. So we'll look at some examples of recent trends. We'll give you a little bit of a history of the Green Star certification and why that has come about and how it's embraced by our members today worldwide. We'll also have a look at the survey criteria, so just the key points in the survey. We won't go into detail today of the survey, but we will give you an idea of which points are relevant to that. As I mentioned, Lotte will give us some examples of as a member who embraces sustainability and how they put that into practice with their staff and their clients. Then Kate will give us a overview on how to actually achieve a Green Star certification and the process that we go through there. And then last but not least, please feel free to ask questions at each point, but at the end, we'll certainly reserve 5 minutes or so of our time just to be able to go through any questions that you've got on the programme. Hopefully by the end of it, we'll put you in a good position to either attain certification, or for those of you who have the certification already, to be able to get more from that certification and help improve on your current standing, if that's possible, of course, because I know on the call today we do already have one platinum member, so that's great to see. So really, just to get our minds thinking about the importance of sustainability, if everyone's microphone's opened up, who can give me an idea or who can tell me what they think this image represents? Does anyone have any ideas? Okay, well, I can tell you it's not my home. That's the first thing that I'll put right. But actually, this property is the most popular single property globally on Airbnb. It is the place that everybody wants to be at, and it's received the very highest rankings. It's quite incredible when you think of all a typical Airbnb property. Why is this important? Well, I think, for me, when I learned of this property and the fact that it is so popular, it just really explains, one really important point, that whether it's a meeting, whether it's a restaurant experience, whether it's a weekend break or something else, we are a group of individuals now that is seeking out very different experiences. We know that from our conference properties. We know that from our venues. That meeting planners are looking for different ways to create a memory around their events and meetings. So just for a moment, as we go through it, just think maybe about how we can connect from a sustainability standpoint and help the sustainability be a part of IAC and a part of your property's DNA, so that delegates, when they come, feel that warmth, feel connected to a property that cares, it feels like a property with a heart, and has the same values, or has values that that they would want to aspire to. Meeting planners, as we say, are becoming increasingly demanding for something different, whether it's whether it's the actual meeting room itself, whether it's the hospitality component, whether they want to meet even in a tree house, as one example that is out there. They really are, striving to find something different, and that's because meeting planners have got a whole lot of components that are going on that they're needing to satisfy with their meeting. Technology, transportation, an unforgettable experience, something different. They need to be looking as well and appearing to their peers to be being responsible, finding a venue that carries the same cultural values as themselves, that cares for the environment. We've gone way beyond just reusing name badges at the end of a conference. Now, meeting planners are telling us that they are looking for inspiring environments. They're looking for millennial-friendly meeting spaces. They want sustainable meetings, and they want to appeal to all. So we really have got an opportunity to differentiate. And if we can use the IACC Green Star program, as that one example, then that will help in many ways. Today, let's look before we leap. Let's take a little bit of a look into the unknown. Let's take a look at the Green Star program and just maybe find some examples of how we can use sustainability to add value to your corporate identity. IACC, we conducted a global research program in partnership with MPI across 4 different continents earlier this year. And it was about predicting the future meeting rooms and environments. I'm not featuring this research particularly, but there was one component around the food and beverage offerings that I think told us, gave us a very clear message. And this was when we asked venue operators, what are they doing differently now? What are they doing more of? And 2 of those pieces of research, I think, are quite telling. One of them, number 2 only to implementing more initiatives around health and well-being, was implementing more sustainable practices, and saying that sustainable practices are now more important than they were 3 years ago. Also, the incorporation of locally sourced food and beverage items to create local experiences. I think whilst you may question whether that's sustainable or is relevant to sustainability, when we look at the food and beverage areas of the research, it absolutely can tie into, the importance of locally sourced food. Serving fish on the dishes that is fish that is not on the endangered species list for the World Wildlife Fund, for example. So these are all examples of how sustainability can play a part of some of the broader initiatives within the property as well. We've heard a lot about millennials and how they're impacting the workplace. But in this recent research piece that from Good 360, they're making clear links between sustainability and brands, and how millennials really care about sustainability. So I think, as they're going to represent soon 80% of the workforce, and particularly there'll be 80% of our meeting delegates in not many years' time, we absolutely have an opportunity now to make what we're doing on a sustainable basis and from a corporate social responsibility basis. We should be shouting it from the rooftops and making it really obvious to them, because they're the ones that will take value from that. So just before we move on to the next stage, and I give you a little bit of a history of IACC's Green Star program, if there are any questions at all from the group, either on the chat or anything that we've covered so far in regards to the relevance and trends in regards to sustainability worldwide. Okay, thank you. Please feel free to ask any questions as we go through. So, a little history behind IACC Green Star program. We started the program. We ran the program for about 6 years until 2 years ago. So, in total, 8 years we've been running IACC Green Star program. And the real reason that we did that was that throughout the different continents, Europe, the Americas, Australia, Asia Pacific, there were different sustainability programs in play. Some of them, most of them, were for hotels, but they really didn't offer what we thought was the required focus on meeting environments and conference environments. Very much they were focused on bedrooms and the bed and guest room component of a hotel. So we decided at that point 8 years ago that IAC really had an opportunity to create a set of standards that are completely relevant and are going to really help our members, have a DNA within them that cares for the environment, cares for the staff, and motivates the customers. When we looked as well at the program 8 years ago, and indeed 2 years ago, when Lotta and another group of and a group of other volunteers really sat down and again looked at all the other sustainability programs out there, they really weren't challenging enough. And we'll have a look at some of the reasons why when we go into the different areas of the survey. But they were just not aggressive enough in terms of what they would encourage people to do. And the sheer fact that you see that of our program now, out of 380 venues worldwide, we only have 3 that have platinum status, which is why I'm thrilled that we have one of those 3 on the call today for the Ivy Spencer Leadership Centre in Canada. But only 3 can meet that bar. And even when we look at our gold and silver membership as well. So deliberately, this is set, at a level where people can really aspire to be the very best in the hospitality and meetings industry. After 6 years, we reviewed it again. We set the bar higher in 2015, and that's a program we have in place now. It's completely self-certified. It was deliberately done that way so that our properties can implement a really good quality program without having the costs of external consultants and suppliers to do it. So we work with our properties in the self-certification method, which Kate will talk about in a little while. It's managed wholly by IACC, so it's our own intellectual property. We're not in partnership with anyone else. So the approach that we encourage the venues to take is to create a green team, to complete the survey, go through that process of reviewing the survey, reviewing what they do, completing the survey, and really identify areas of improvement and set new goals to continue to keep the organisation moving forward. And then to go out there quite simply and shout about it from the rooftops to really promote their status and their achievements in that regard. So we'll take a look now and we'll take a walk through the actual criteria. And these are going to use the main subsections of the criteria. So the first is around the reuse of items. So it's around recycling. It's how the individual properties approach linen and the changing of linen. Not using disposable cutlery. Instead, obviously using cutlery that doesn't have an impact on the environment. And this was a big sea change in 2015. Really, IACC globally does not advocate the use of disposable plastic bottles of water in meeting rooms. The properties that really want to be delivering at the very top in terms of caring for the environment need to be thinking about refillable water bottles in the meeting rooms, in the restaurant areas, and really moving away from the amount of stock that's going to landfill. Water's a big, part. All energy, water consumption. Not only it's obvious in terms of the impact on the environment, but also on the cost. There's nothing to say, that being a sustainable property actually isn't going to save a property money. It's not a cost center; it could actually be a profit center. So, water saving devices, having landscaping strategy out there, which is using plants that require large water consumption, particularly if our members are in areas and regions like California, Sydney, Melbourne, those sort of continents where water really is at a premium. Use of energy efficient appliances, water metering, even down to path washing, and how we clean the outsides of our properties, and the water that we're using for that. Our purchasing strategy, have our members, got a good green purchasing policy in place, whether engaging with their suppliers and really setting out standards in terms of sustainability that they need to get, that suppliers need to adhere to if they want to do business. Are we asking suppliers, to provide little or no packaging in line with their deliveries? Are we using chemical-free cleaning products, or insisting that our suppliers are using, particularly if we're outsourcing housekeeping services, are they using chemical-free cleaning products as well? Then we take a look in areas such as energy management. Do you have an energy management program in place? Are your appliances Energy Star rated? Do you look at the Energy Star rating before purchasing appliances? Of course, when you have on-site laundry facilities as well, reducing the drying cycles, it's really important. One way of being able to save money, as well as obviously buying appliances that have got great energy ratings. And for those that are building extensions or are rebuilding part of their property, or even building a new IACC certified conference venue, are they using eco-friendly building materials? Is that a key part? And actually, if anyone is coming to the IACC conference in April next year in Los Angeles, that was a really important part of all of the decisions that were taken to build the Luskin Conference Center at the University College Los Angeles campus. One of the other areas is around food and beverage, and we touched upon it a little bit at the beginning. Are we using and making the most of local produce and sourcing locally? Now, not only is that great because it reduces the amount of miles that are driven and the cost of the environment of bringing a product halfway across the country, or indeed from halfway across the world, but actually, if we look at it from a perspective of what delegates want when they come to a conference venue, when they come to an IACC facility, they want to connect regionally, whether that's a local honey that is created from the bees that are in the beehives in the grounds of the property, so it can be branded to the property, or sourcing local beef, sourcing, different foods, local beers. Actually, as well as it being great from an environmental perspective, it creates an interest, from our members that, from the delegates who attend, that they really feel like they're connecting with the region and getting something that they wouldn't get in another venue somewhere else. Using organic ingredients. We talked a little bit about, making a pledge to use and cook with fish that only come from sustainable resources and are not on endangered lists. How are we managing our leftover food, whether that be composting it or gifting to food banks? Are all ways that the survey look to measure whether venue really is doing everything it can. So, in regards to the criteria, before I move on to our next speaker, Lotta, does anyone have any questions at all of me of the actual survey criteria or any aspects that we cover in regards to that? Okay, thank you. So it's my pleasure. I introduced Lotta at the beginning. Lotta, we'd love to hear a little bit about this sustainability and what that means to your business in your wonderful venue just outside of Stockholm. Thanks, Lotta.
Hi, all of you, and thank you, Mark, for inviting me to the session. I hope you can hear me, everybody. I'm sitting here in the dark in Sweden. It's well, almost 5:30, but we are in the middle of November, and November in Sigtuna is a green month for us. I'd like to share with you some of the experiences that we have from successful sustainability work. And one of the things when you talk about sustainability is that it could be really well, it could be a little heavy to approach, and it could be lots of measuring, lots of technical things and hard things to understand, and sometimes it could be overwhelming just to get started. But we try to change this a little and focus on what is fun with this. What's fun with sustainability? What's fun with promoting organic food? What's fun with the questions, and what could you lift? Because you really do a lot of things that you maybe don't pay attention to, but it could be very easily lifted. So we started to focus on reduce food waste, and this is easily done. You could start with your buffet if you have one. You could use smaller plates. If you put out, salad for lunch or different dishes, just try to put out smaller plates and fill them more often. And in that case, you can save food very easily, and food waste will go down immediately. What we also do is that we are, together with the other hotels in the area, we are working with biology. So we all agreed on getting beehives. So we now have 2 beehives each in every venue around here, and the bees produce honey, and we get almost 50 kilograms out of each beehive every year. So we just got this year's harvest that is delivered in small containers that we sell to our guests, and they love it, and they really pay twice as much as in the store for this honey, because they know it's so locally produced just outside the window, and it's also a very good giveaway. Another easy thing that you could do right away is just to offer all the electrical cars chargers, which you can put out right away if you don't have it. And this is electrical cars. The Tesla, of course, is a prestigious car, but in Sweden we also have a lot of other ones, and they could be easily charged at our venue. And it's also something that our customers ask for, and we have more and more cars hooked up to these chargers every week. At my venue, we also decided that we should work with a CSR project. So we are involved with a family from Bangladesh, and we are supporting them in building a clinic there for pregnant women and for people who have diabetes. And we sell food that we have. If we have more food than we use in a day, we sell it to our staff. And the money that they pay for the food that they bring home, we collect that money and we send it to the clinic. So that's one thing also that we sort of share together as a staff group, that we have a common thing that we sort of care for all together. And this creates lots of ideas. So right now, during that Green November month, we also have a knitting right now put out. So we've taken old yarn. Do you understand what I mean? Old yarn, and we've hooked it up to so people can knit. And for every little turn they knit, we give away some money for the clinic as well, which is also you save some yarn, you do a thing, and you knit your your scarf with this, and we're gonna put it around some of our, I don't know where, but somewhere at Sigtunahöjden. It's also important to offer a sustainable workplace. It's also very good, of course, you take it for granted, but it's not always done so, that we are a workplace that take care of our staff and that we have everything, that we follow the law and that we have all the contracts and everything that we deal with and offer staff is in order and proper. Which is also very important, that the people also get paid when they should, and we do whatever we should, and we follow all the different rules that is to be followed when it comes to especially our business with, you know, restaurants and conferences. There is a lot of permits that has to be kept, and that we really make our staff aware of how important that is. I come back to the Green November month all the time, and we just also had to start off this month when we focus on these tasks and these issues. We sort of came up with the idea a couple of years ago too, that we need a great kick-off, a good night to kick the whole month off, and we called it the Green Club. So we have a Green Club evening, which is like an after work with a band that plays reused music, old music, or whatever it could be, and we focus on all these green issues that we sort of. So we had this evening just the last Friday, and we had over 200 people at the venue, and they all had vegetarian food, and we're almost calling it vegetarian. It's just, you know, green food. And we also had at that night, we usually try to dress staff up so people can see they make a difference. And so we made it really visible to people, because how can you show people that you work with sustainability? It has to be visible. So I came up with the idea that I met this woman who has her own company where she makes and dresses and shirts out of old curtains and fabrics that have been used for other things. Could be old sheets even. And she makes these into really, really nice dresses or shirts for that matter. So we dress the staff up in these clothes, and it's right away. We've gotten so much feedback that, oh, how nice you look, and this is, you know, and it's like a storytelling at its best, and it's really a nice icebreaker also, because it gives staff a chance to tell our customers what we do. And sometimes that could be hard to explain for people, but if you start off with a dress and you get a compliment, you could sort of tell them what you do, and also bring up the other questions that are important for you. So I think the recipe for success when it comes to working with sustainability, it is to cooperate, try to work together with others, work within your own organization, try to find others that share the same values. And I think also it's very important to have a lot of fun. If you don't put the fun word in this work, I don't think you will have a success, because it is really fun if you think about the things that you do that could be easily done, and then you focus on that. And because we decided about the November month, is because then you have a month to focus on the questions, and you don't have to list them all the time. Then, you know, we sort of talk about this during November, and then we could sort of deal with other things the rest of the year. But then it also makes a lot of commitment for the month. So so that's what I wanted to share with you. I don't know if that was what you had in mind or if that created some inspiration. And like we always say, just steal with pride, and I will be really happy to share some of the ideas that I just did if you want to, so I can email them right away to you.
Lotta, thank you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions of Lotta before we move on at all, of any of those initiatives or work that Lotta's doing with her property and with her teams?
I have a quick question.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah. Lotta, how long have you been using the beehives at your facility? Is that a new implementation or something you've been using for a while?
I think we've had it now for four years.
Okay, and you see that it's a big hit and that it's working out well?
It's working out very well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chelsea. Any other questions of Lotta before we move on? Okay, well, we won't keep you too much longer. We know this is a half an hour, but what I wanted to do, just really to say that of Lotta's uniform project, which she spoke about there, I used that in our presentations with meeting planners, and they absolutely love the story. They're blown away by it. So you can do something, that is as individual as that, and create and use that as your flagship flagship initiative, and it goes a long way. So thank you, Lotta, we appreciate that. Just some examples now of how you can really use your Green Star certification. Most people on the call today have it. As I say, I will have a certification, but just look at how you're listing it. Dolce gives one example of this on their Code of Sustainability page, which talks about the IACC certification and the properties that have that. Now I'm going to hand over to Kate, who's going to give you a brief summary on how to become an IACC Green Star certified venue.
Thanks, Mark. So to become a Green Star certified venue, or indeed to renew your certification, you need to complete an online survey. Now, the survey can be found on our website, www.iacconline.org. And the survey sits on our environmental initiatives page, which is under the resources tab. And if you click on resources and go down, I think it's about 4 subheadings, you'll come to the environmental page. Within that page, you'll see from the slide, there's information generally about the initiative itself. It also details current members who have their certification. There are 2 sections there where you can click on the relevant survey to your venue. You'll see that there's either a non-residential survey or a residential survey. So you would need to click on the link appropriate to your venue, and then you would go through a series of questions within the questionnaire and complete that. I think off the top, I think it's about 52 questions in total, so it's quite a detailed questionnaire that you need to go through and answer, obviously, honestly, with as much information as you can. When you finish that survey, automatically you submit it, it will come through to IACC, and then we will go through the surveys we receive and obviously come out with certification scores to hopefully make you a certified venue for Green Star. For any new members that aren't currently in the programme, I do have PDFs of all the questions, so if you wanted to have a look through what sort of areas that the certification will go through, I can let you have that in advance of going on to complete the questions online. Once you receive your certification, Mark talked earlier about it's graded, so we have platinum, gold and silver, and they're all related to your percentage scores from the survey. And then once you're awarded that, you will be given the Green Star logo, which obviously gives you the opportunity to promote your status and the achievements to all your customers. For those of you that aren't familiar with the programme as much as, and there's a couple that haven't currently got the Green Star that are on the call, we will be sending a communication out within the next few weeks regarding next year's initiative, and that will detail the surveys and any questions regarding that, and please come to me. But I will contact you all after the call and send information in terms of the presentation. So if there's any questions that you have, either now or afterwards, then you know where to find me. Mark, is there anything else you want to do before we open up for questions?
No, only really to say we're happy to open up to any of the questions on the survey that you have now. And thank you, Lotta, and thank you, Kate, for covering those elements. Does anyone have any questions regarding today's session that you'd like to raise, or indeed any comments or any ideas of your own that you'd love to share as well, which would be great also? Okay, well, I'll thank you very much for your time. Thank you for joining this IACC webinar. If you're looking for attainment of a certification for the first time, best of luck with that process with your teams. We're here to help you. If you're looking to complete the survey in the coming weeks to improve upon your current standing or to retain your current standing, then we're excited to receive your survey and award you with your certification. But from all of us on today's call today, thank you for your time, and we hope you get to implement great initiatives at your property. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.
Yeah, you too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.